Welcome to Next Gen Leadership. I'm your host, Jimmy Ryan. Today we're going to talk about, is success the enemy of success? And we have our dear friend, Gino Fronte. What's up, brother? How are
What
you?
up, my man? Oh, man. This is one of my favorite subjects. And in order to just be transparent about it, the reason I feel this way about this particular subject is because of what happened to me in my personal life. You have these visions and dreams of what you want to achieve in life when you're a kid. And, most of us can build it with the little house and the wife and the kids and the cars and you could pretty much design the American dream on paper, and it's hard to achieve. It really is. And so let's just say from the time you're 18 years old to whenever, your entire focus in life is to get those things because that's how we were, I'm going to say it, programmed. We were programmed that the American dream is to have a family, a house, beautiful cars, and luxurious vacations and all these things. So that's what you want. We're conditioned that way. It's not our fault. We're conditioned that way by our environment, the media, etc. So I was blessed enough that through all my hard work and the right opportunities came along, the right partners and people in my life came along, that I was able to achieve all of that. Everything I ever wanted. And that's probably the worst thing that ever happened to me. I almost instantly got depressed. And I'm a happy-go-lucky person, right? Like there isn't such a depression doesn't even exist in my vernacular.
Right.
But I was sad. And I couldn't figure out. And so I couldn't, at the time, I didn't know success was the enemy of success. At the time, I was saying, now what?
Yeah.
Now what? Now what? Now what? And so to put this in perspective, one thing that success does is when you reach the pinnacle of that mountain, it creates complacency and it creates entitlement. And all of the hard work that you were willing to do to get there, you now somehow feel like you don't have to do that anymore.
Well, you don't have a reason.
Well, you don't have a why, right? You don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
So you've got to rebuild your purpose. And it's okay. I think people think that a why should be a one-time thing, like, oh, this is my why. Well, no, whys can change. Whys can change. Why not? Purpose can change. It doesn't have to be the same all the time. Not to go down the whole what's my why tangent, but people all the time, I ask them what their why is, and they say, oh, my why is my wife and kids. And I challenge that, and I call bullshit. And I'm not saying you don't work hard for them, but I had a massive why before I ever had a wife and kids. I was driven before I ever even met my wife or had the thought of having kids. I had massive drive. So the fact that you have drive comes from purpose. I don't like the word why, by the way. I hate Simon Sinek's "What's your why?" I don't like it.
Why? Why you hate it?
Because
you hate it?
It didn't help me determine what my why was. Chris Sorensen, I'm going to give him credit for this, asked me the same thing differently, and he says, "What's your purpose in life?" And for me, that's different, right? What's your why is like, who do I do this for? What's your purpose is a lot deeper. It's kind of like, why am I here? What am I going to do with that? Right. And so I would dig into that. But to get back a little bit to the success is the enemy of success, you have to be careful with complacency. If you're looking at it, that's as an individual, but also as an organization, right? As an organization, if you hit all your KPIs and you hit all your metrics, what do? You just move the goalpost? By the way, doing $1.5 billion in loans and over 3,500 loans a year on our team, I thought that was pretty damn good. And I asked myself when I ran into that struggle, I said, would 3 billion make me any happier?
Yeah. Well, would it?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Would more money make me any happier? Nope.
Right.
Nope. And so when I say success is the enemy of success, I said, be careful with what you set your goals to be. And if they're too easy to achieve, you might find yourself in this situation.
Well, I'll give you a quick example is that I was a part of anybody that follows me knows that I go to F45 all the time.
Yeah.
And there was a workout challenge and I signed up for it and I kind of gained weight before the challenge because I wanted to lose the most weight.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, bro, I was 11% body fat.
It's awesome.
And it was awesome. But I was doing 2 workouts a day sometimes. I was legit
The only way.
so dialed in.
We did
in
2
my
days
diet.
for 60 days when we were in with fitness challenges. There's nothing
Bro,
you have to.
You do. You have to, and you have to eat perfectly, and you can't drink, and you have to everything has to be super dialed in. Well, by the end of it, I'm kind of burnt out.
And asparagus for 60 days. Hate that.
Yeah. Well, right. Chicken breasts and eggs is basically for me. Like that's it. So I almost got to the point where I was taking the yolks out. Okay, how do I make it even more? But but okay. So then I hit my goals. I wouldn't say I hit my goals. I wanted to be under 10% body fat, but that's basically impossible. Anyway, regardless, I got to 11. I hit dude, I look freaking good. I'm cut. All of my measurements, all of my, KPIs basically are at the top that they've ever been. And then I kind of let it go.
And now what?
Because so I've just recently went through this. I really did.
This is like
it's
60 days
literally
30 days old.
No, dude, it's literally like within this month. It's just like within the past 30 days. But so bro, it takes a certain level of discipline, a want, a desire, hey, I want to dude, I'm doing this and get the hell out of my way. I am getting this done. Nothing stands in my way. I'm doing diet. I'm doing exercise. And I'm not drinking. Just simple things. But if you are so disciplined on it, nothing stands in your way. That's great. But then after that why is gone, after you achieve the goal, after you get I won $300.
Yeah.
I know. I'll go retire. But I won $300, and after I got it, I was just like, wow, this wasn't did I really win?
Yeah,
I guess. And we could talk about this deeper, but dude, all of the joy is in the pursuit, all of it.
Yes.
And I know you're getting there, but all of the joy is in the pursuit. It's in the working hard. It's in the doing the things that you say you're going to do. It's the making your bed, the bullshit. I mean, it's all the little things, but that's where the joy is. I think that's where the peace is too.
It's a puzzle.
I'm terrible at it though.
It's a puzzle, right? And but you touched on it, right? And I want to use athletes, rap stars. Athletes are a great example of this. Olympic athletes, since we just finished the Olympics, it's a really, really good thing to look at. Most Olympic athletes are absolute failures in life.
Really?
They are. They're terrible. They don't have a way to transition out of that persona. And you're like, these are the most disciplined individuals, children in some cases, in the world.
Yeah.
And then they come out of that and they don't know how to adapt to regular life. Some of them do. They become public speakers, they become authors, and they become personal trainers and try to teach other people to do the same things they did. I'm not saying, but as a generalization, though, a lot of them struggle after this pinnacle of success because let's say you're a gymnast and you're 17 years old and you just won 3 gold medals. Where do you go from there in life?
I know.
But down.
I know.
The only way is down, right? And so it's hard. So that's why I think, and as an organization, to transition this to a business, if you're the CEO of a business and you want to understand what happens, why does the scrappy little guy, why should you be more afraid of the scrappy little guy than the big guy? Because the little guy has nothing to lose. He's still pursuing that dream
and he's got everything to prove
with vicious intent and commitment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because they haven't reached the level of complacency yet.
They're hungry.
And they're nimble.
Yeah.
So one thing that's happening is we must be nimble in our pursuit for whatever it is that we're doing, because we're in a world that changes ever so much faster.
Yeah.
Right? Everything changes ever so much faster. And if you're a large established company and then there's a little guy that's doing something new, look, the only choice that Meta had was to buy Instagram.
100%.
Instagram was eating their lunch. Okay.
Big time.
So the only choice they had was to buy them.
It's still better.
I still like it better. Yeah. But now they own it. They don't care. Now they're fine.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, being nimble is something that's important as an organization, because an organization that's successful, if it always does the things it always did, will fall behind. It's just the nature of it. You can't stay You can't be stale. You've got to always be innovating, always be changing, and think that about yourself too. Like, so for me, that whole search is kind of what led into this like wellness and fitness journey, because this is something I
Yeah.
hadn't really achieved yet. I had achieved it before, but I had achieved it in a way that I didn't like. Now I'm trying to achieve it I had achieved weight loss before. I hadn't achieved health, wellness, and peak performance. Right. And so now that's what I'm seeking. But why am I seeking that? I'm seeking that because I want to live a longer, healthier life, because I want to live longer than my mom did, because I want to have good habits, because so my why behind it, my purpose for why I want to do this is actually significant.
It's a little bit more everlasting than win a workout challenge.
Yeah.
I mean,
but we've done that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like sometimes
but here, let's.
okay.
Well, but I think to dig deeper in this, I think that I think my challenge, you could just put different words into it and it'd be the same thing. Hey, I want to hit my first $10 million month. I mean, remember when that was a big month? Remember when 10 million was a big thing? And then you get it and you're like, well, shit. Then you do it every single month. And then you're like, well, I want to beat 20 million. Okay. And then like 20 million is like this big, huge thing. And then you get it and it's like, okay, well, what? So like,
so you're touching on like exactly what I talked about. So when we were,
you're not being complacent is what you're doing.
2 goals, 2 volume goals. Okay. It was $1 billion region to do $1 billion in a year. And the second one was to do 100 million in 1 month. Okay. We ended up doing cool. 100 million a month for 22 months in a row.
I love it.
So then we're constantly shifting to try to keep it going. So hitting it 1 month wasn't enough. Now it was, let's keep the streak going as long as we can.
Right.
And we were focused on the streak, because if $100 million months happen, everything else good will happen behind it.
Yeah, big time.
And then the market shifted. And quite frankly, to be transparent, we didn't shift fast enough with it, not as an individual. I didn't lead my team to switch fast enough to the new normal. Our company closed, so that was brutal. We had to adjust to a whole new company. That set us back. That was a big setback. To have to start over, basically. We lost some of our team in that transition. So that was so sometimes you get knocked down from that pedestal pretty quickly.
Gosh.
And you just got to rebuild and regrind. And the good news is it actually did give us purpose again, because now we had to build again.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where we're at now. Don and I are now, we're excited again because we're building, because we're seeing progress, because, the 100 million is the goal again.
Like, I don't want to take it somewhere else, but it doesn't just like make you be so much more grateful of the good times. I mean, like, you were there, you did it for 22 months straight. Another 100 million. My God,
But again, ask yourself though, does it even matter? Like, does 150 million make us happier? Does 200 million make you happier? Why?
That's what I mean. I mean, it's like, it really is. You have to be in love with the pursuit. You just have to. If you're not in love with the pursuit of getting better, you're going to get worse. You can't be complacent with what your results are currently. You have to move on. You have to move forward. And man, it's like, why is that the truth? Can't we just be happy? Can't we just be happy with what we got?
The problem is our goal setting. The way we set goals in life is the problem. I don't know. If I asked any random person off the street, what are your goals in life? They would list me a list of monetary accomplishments.
Yeah.
Or ego accomplishments. Those are the two things that people list, right? I want to drive a Ferrari. I want to have $1 million. I want to have blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Very rarely would you approach someone that says, I'd like to have more free time so that I can coach my children to be the best people they could ever be. I want more free time so that I could focus on my health and longevity. I want more. So those are the types of goals that I have today, but almost like I didn't even know that those were goals I was supposed to have, because I was so focused on the monetary and ego goals. So you need to get focused on things that are important, truly important, the things that you'll regret on your deathbed for not doing.
Yeah.
And not the things that we've been coached and trained into thinking are important. Now, I'm not saying don't have KPIs. I'm not saying don't have monetary goals. I'm not saying don't have ego goals. Those are all can be good things, but they should be a result of your bigger goals in life.
Well, because I mean, you could look at it two different ways. Success is the enemy of success, particularly in your want to, but also it might just be the market. The market got oversaturated. The interest rates were too low. Everybody was successful. It was a bubble that was going to burst at some point, and I feel like we all have to like realize that it kind of comes in spurts. It
Well,
doesn't
and then
come and
I'm gonna
stay
ask,
forever.
but now I'm gonna ask the hard truth.
Or ask it.
Were you successful because of your own merits, or were you successful because of the environment you were in?
I think that's a good question that each person needs to individually ask, and I'd
Look
suggest
in
you
the
do that.
mirror and ask that, right? Because if you were only successful when times are good, then it's probably not you.
Right.
The market giveth and the market taketh.
But I guess on the point of success is the enemy of success, like even the market, it was super success. But then it all imploded and now it's a disaster. I guess it's just, I feel like everything is just an ebb and flow in your life, and you really just got to embrace it and make the best out of it no matter what. But my brother, uh, this is a solid talk, man. I mean,
No, I mean,
I feel
look,
like
and it's different. It's different for everybody, right? But like I said, I've now refocused my goals around the things that are important to my longevity, including my relationships, and I've said this on the last couple of calls, like I had to leave the old guy behind, right? That guy that chased the wins, that guy that chased the numbers, the guy that chased the material things, that guy's gone, right? Because that guy was fat, unhealthy, drinking, not sleeping well. Those are all the
and then
sacrifices I was making to be able to get those monetary and ego goals that I wanted. So now it's a completely different paradigm shift. And I know it'll lead to more success in the future, but the focus is different. So the focus is on more important things. The result will be that I transcend that peak performance into everything I do.
yeah, and I mean, just to go deeper in what you were saying, all of these negative traits. I mean, basically, you were unhappy, even though
Miserable.
you had all of these things. And I've been there too. I've had all the check marks, and I've been absolutely like depressed, sad. Like, how is this even possible? But man,
That's a
success is
really,
the
I mean,
is the
look,
enemy of
it
success.
really drives this whole other conversation of what is happiness and what truly makes you happy.
I was just going to ask you that. Let's end on that.
Yeah. So look, I mean,
What define happiness to Gino?
well, human beings chase dopamine.
Yeah.
Period. End of story, man. That's just the way we're wired. We naturally chase dopamine. So I we all need to identify, where am I getting my dopamine from? Right? Some people get it from drugs, addictions, success, ego. So what makes me happy today? My new focus, what I know will take me to my next level is, and we've talked about this in the last 10 episodes, doing the things I said I was going to do, starting the projects that I haven't started yet that are just in the idea phase. That'll give me peace of mind to know that I'm not waiting for anyone. I'm going to do the things I want to do in life. If I fail, that's totally okay. But I'd rather fail and try than never have tried at all in any of my business endeavors. It's always been that way. And I just want to make sure to help other people. Like, that wasn't a goal that I really had earlier in life. Obviously, I'm going to focus on my children because they're my three individuals that I need to make sure to coach up and train, and then my personal team. But then, even through Momentum Builder, the greater community that we serve. And so it's kind of like the snowball effect or trickle down effect, right? If somebody's watching this call today and they're a branch manager and they're able to have a great chat with one of their loan officers that's experiencing financial whiplash. By the way, that's a real thing. Look it up. Ryan Grant did a talk on it at Momentum Builder. It was awesome. So if you guys don't have access to the app, go to the app. And in the app, we've got all the Momentum Builder stuff that's recorded. And that was a beautiful talk that Ryan gave about financial whiplash, because people are dealing with it, right? In the absence of money, depression sets in, because you've fallen from that thing that you thought was success. So for me, happiness is doing the things that I know would only lead to regret on my deathbed.
Hmm.
It's kind of that simple. So if I wake up in the morning and I do one thing that I know I won't have any regret for later, then I'm like, I win. I mean, just do one thing every day that you know you should do, that you want to do, that and it's kind of morbid to think about that. Like, what would I regret on my deathbed? I'd regret not writing a book. So fucking write a book, right? I'd regret not being healthier. Then just be healthier. Like, that's happiness. Right. Happiness is the pursuit of those things. And this is totally depressing. Most people will not leave a legacy beyond 2 generations. If you think about
Meaning
that.
No one will remember your name at all.
Yep. Very, very little. Like, my grandpa was really close to me, but not so much my great grandpa. And I don't know shit about my great grandpa.
Well, right.
Right. And so, so if that's important to you, think about that and say, how do I leave a legacy where people remember my name? And then that's why I say, is it important to you? Maybe not. Like, to me, the only people that matter is my wife, my kids, and my friends, and my team, and, you know, the people in my life that are important to me. But they won't be here 2 generations from now either. We'll all be forgotten.
Right.
So if you think legacy is important to you, then, you know.
We're morbid, bro. We're into morbid. We're into morbid stuff.
Well, it's just real life. It's real life, Jimmy. We have to talk about real life.
Yeah.
What these calls are about is real life. Like, I don't want to sugarcoat anything.
I think it's important, though, because it's when you're talking about, it's like, what drives you? And it just can't be a bigger number in a bank account. It can't be more loans. It can't be.
I'll tell you what I told Chris Sorensen when he asked me what my purpose was. I had never been able to answer this. And I was able to say it.
Yeah, and on the spot, Chris Sorensen, big boss man, asked you, and you're just, you spit it out.
I'm new to the company, right? And he's going around the table, and we have branch manager university, and he's going around the table, and everybody's telling
the heat's on.
Okay. Oh, the heat's on, and people are telling stories about how they used to be drug addicts and they recovered from that. And I'm like,
man, yeah,
great stories and stuff. And I finally was able to tap into it pretty quickly, and I got a little emotional, and I said, it's to not squander the opportunity that my family gave to me because they immigrated and left their friends and family behind so that I would have a better chance. That's it. That's a simple purpose. Like, I can't squander that opportunity. Think about, that's why the immigrants do so well in this country, because they left behind everything they loved in search of that something.
Wow.
And then for me to be a child of an immigrant, then I can't squander that opportunity. That would be a shame.
All right. Well, we're wrapping up. It comes down to perspective. That's what you're talking about. And it's not being complacent. It's, you know, chasing the person that you can be, not some stat.
Practice better.
And to keep it going. So, all right. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And I especially want to thank Gino. Love you, brother.
Buddy. Yeah, virtual hug.
Got a virtual hug there. And I want to thank everybody in the Momentum group, Momentum Builder community. And hey, comment on something, would you?
And share these, please.
Hit a like. You know, do something like that. Let us know you're there.
Whatever.
Tell us we suck. Yeah, you guys are garbage.
Yeah, you guys are garbage. You're both bald.
Well, then tell me. You know, we'd love to hear any feedback, and maybe don't call us bald or fat or anything. I don't like that. Maybe give us praise. But I want to thank everybody for joining us today. This has been Next Gen Leadership. This is for leaders and people that aspire to be leaders and better ones. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jimmy Ryan.
Later, guys.